And then I just wanted to quickly reference a slightly different challenge that we've come across. And I know I've heard from other OGL developers that they've come across similar issues, hence why I wanted to bring this up. So disappearing tips and steps. So again, I'm going to flick back to my screen here to show you this, because if you've not come across it already, it's basically a little bit of an issue that we've come across in lots of different areas of Redwood, where we find that actually the tips, either they can move around a little bit or they can disappear. And so there's a couple of approaches for us to try and resolve that. Now, again, I haven't got a full process guide. This is just for demonstration purposes only. But now what I have here, for convenience, I've built in a step, a smart guide, a process guide step, and then I've also put a smart tip in here. Typically we'd keep these separate, but just to kind of make this easier to demonstrate. So you can see that the this reason here for this new absence is a cold, is defaulted to cold. And so as a user who wants to come in and update this, I would click into this field and update it. Now, the target selector that I used when creating these was the default target selector. So it was the one that automatically came up, and I chose that one. So you can see here that as we click into it, both the step and the smart tip disappear. And say if I choose another reason, as I'm here, the process guide has now disappeared and the smart tip is now gone. It's only when I actually click back out, which a user may or may not think to, that they come back. So you know, this isn't great functionality. We don't want things disappearing, reappearing off the page. Now, again, there are a couple of ways of approaching this. So just to skip to here. Yeah. So what we often find is that any target selectors with the word input in are often problematic. So what we have found is actually by removing some of the references to input, or actually choosing a target selector that doesn't contain input, is really beneficial and can avoid that issue. So that's one approach. And then the other approach is actually, instead of like targeting the whole field in itself, and in which case you tend to get this input that's defaulted to within your target selector. Instead, you can target an icon or the arrow next to it instead. And again, that's really beneficial. And we find that we don't get that input, and then the step will stay where it's intended to be. So if I've got time, hopefully we can try and go and resolve this one together using those two approaches. So let's just navigate to the page quickly. I'm going a bit too fast for it. Okay. So now you can actually see, oh, this is shifted, but you can actually see this happening here. So if you click in here, you can see that step has disappeared. So you can already tell when you're building that this has happened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone my step, make this a new one. And so the first thing that I want to do is to go in. And so you can see here that this target has the input at the end of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove any reference to input here. So apologies, this is off center a little bit, but now what we can see is this tip now stays put throughout. We just need to offset it to the side a little bit. So we can go through and we can select and change as we need to, but by removing that reference to the input within the target selector has really helped us. Depending on how the target selector that you have, it might be that actually just choosing an alternative target selector might be a better choice as well. As just a general warning against anything with the word input in, that will be the reason why that is happening. So that's one option. And then the other option here as well, like I mentioned before, is about changing the target. So instead of targeting this box where the default is the input element, if we target this here instead. Okay, and so this here, yeah, is a completely different target selector. And so if I save that, and again, we can see now that that stays put, whereas this one previously was disappearing. So hopefully that kind of gives you a little bit of insight into some of those disappearing steps that you've been experiencing. Now, there were many more challenges that we wanted to talk through today. There's clearly not enough time to go through them all, but we just thought it might be worth calling out some of the other challenges that we've seen as we've gone through. So draws is one of them. I think you guys will have seen, if not, you will see the use of draws instead of pop-ups. So this is where the extra information slides in from the side. These present various different challenges. Sometimes the drawer will stay open until you click cancel. Sometimes they'll drop back down again. So reassigning a requisition, for example, that's a good example where it will just drop back. And so that can cause some problems with your process guides as you're clicking through. So just something to kind of flag and be aware of with your development. And then another challenge as well that we came across is some of these dynamic menu options. So when you're looking at your requisitions, the actions that you can take with them are going to vary dependent on the status of the requisition. And so if you have, for example, if there's a purchase order raised against that requisition, then you will have an additional option here, which is view order. And what happens is the target selectors, they're all in different orders. And so that can sometimes present challenges when you're trying to do something common across all requisitions, but the positioning of some of these steps is going to differ. It's a bit of a complicated one. I just wanted to flag it to everybody really, rather than kind of get into it in too much detail, just to say be wary when you're choosing your target selectors on these drop-down menus, as it can be a bit complex. So you'll need to kind of go through that in a bit more detail and make sure you do lots of testing.